slightly concerned about this microphone, but I think it'll be all right. Thank you for having me. I'm here to talk about my experiences of helping organisations to build internal UX teams and why that might be right for you and your organisation. So first up, and we've heard it from the earlier speakers, I think UX is really having its day. And yay! I know I would say that. I'm a UX consultant. Of course, I'm pleased about that. But I think it's fair to say that UX has become a strategic priority for successful companies. It's no longer bolt-on, poor relation. It's not downstream of the decision-making with no influence. So in my time as a consultant, I've seen organisations move to become more user-centred. They believe it helps them make better decisions, and customer service experience is now seen as an important differentiator in the marketplace. So, as Mr. Lean UX here, Jeff Lotav, says, customer value is business value. But it's not just the UX community that's saying this. There's this Forbes article here outlines how good UX is good for business. UX impacts the bottom line via lower costs and higher retention rates. Later on in this article, they quote Forrester research showing that on average, every dollar invested in UX brings $100 in return. That's an absolutely whopping ROI. So, boards are sitting up, and user experience professionals are getting a seat at that board table. Successful companies recognise that they're in the customer experience business. You know, obviously, the obvious examples, Amazon, Airbnb, Uber. Uber, for example, has built an enormous business from understanding customer needs and anxieties around getting home after a night out. Really simple. But traditional taxi companies are facing really significant new competition because they are not attuned to this customer-centric marketplace. Uber was formed with customer experience as a strategic priority from the get-go. But what about the 99% of companies that weren't? Well, as a consultant, I've seen that they're reorientating themselves around their users, with UX informing vision, strategy, and company roadmaps. And this reorientation around customer needs is seen as a transformation from organisational-centric decision-making to customer-centric decision-making. And I wanted to give you a little bit of background into why I'm particularly interested in these organisational shifts. And it's because of my experience of actually working in this field. Around 5 years ago, when I was working at CX Partners, we started to see our work changing. From doing UX for organisations as an agency, to partnering with them to help them do it themselves. As a part of that, we were lucky to work with some organisations that I'm going to talk a little bit about now. And these were digital transformation projects for these organisations. We didn't always know that they were going to be digital transformation projects when we started out on the work, but we certainly knew by the end. So for example, JISC here, they're a big organisation in Bristol, quite a few of you may have heard of them, you may not. They provide digital solutions for UK higher education. That's including the sort of Janet internet backbone for universities. A big organisation, lots of things going on. CX Partners were brought in to help them with vision and strategy and to help them move away from big bang web design. We ended up supporting them to build their own in-house UX teams. With Bristol City Council, again, we were partnered with them to reimagine their services around the needs of users. And the reason that we were brought in to help them with that was it was the only way of meeting those rising customer expectations. Remember, we were all expecting sort of Airbnb and Uber levels of interaction, but the council had an austerity budget to work with. The only way of meeting that budget and also meeting rising expectations was to reimagine their services around the needs of users. And finally, here, Nationwide Building Society, they came to us and they asked us to set up a 30-person in-house digital design agency for them. It's called The Studio, it's here in Bristol, it's been up and running for about a year. We had 3 months to build an agency from scratch, so that was a really fun project. But we worked shoulder to shoulder with them to build capability, define ways of working, and set up a design-friendly culture for them. So, I think this really exemplifies the types of work that our work was shifting into. Tracy Dodds from Bristol City Council said that they need partners to work with us and not for us. And her brief was, try not to do the UX work yourself, but help the people in my team to do it. So, as practitioners, our work shifted, and we wanted to know why that was happening. And we went and talked to all of our clients that this was happening with, and to try and understand why it was happening, and we found some patterns in the work that we've been doing, and that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. What are the business drivers for organisations investing in UX teams in-house? So as I said earlier, digital natives expect Amazon or Airbnb levels of digital interaction from all providers, digital first or not. Savvy businesses are ensuring that user experience is no longer lost between competing organisational silos and tech-driven decisions. They're becoming user-centred organisations in order to de-risk and make better decisions. If customer experience is important to your organisation, you need ownership of the UX roadmap. You need to control it. And to do that, you need to be the one forming the strategy. That's you and not external agencies. So that leads to the formation of in-house UX teams. As Ben from JISC here says, an internal team that lives and breathes the organisation are much better set up to respond to the shifting business and user priorities. An organisation's employees know its business better than any agency ever can. And the second driver that we pulled out, when we found this really recurring, was brand. So your brand is of course wedded to your customers' expectations. And a customer's understanding of a brand, forms their expectations of their interactions with that brand. If you think of an organisation's brand as its personality, the way it converses with its customers digitally is a key part of that. I keep going on about Amazon, but Jeff Bezos says here that brand is not just a logo, a font, and a strapline. As Jeff Bezos puts it, branding is what people say about you when you are not in the room. And Matt from Nationwide said, the digital estate is the brand offering. Nationwide realised that customer experience is now a hugely important differentiator in the retail banking sector. Would you change your current account for a different freebie or a slight change in interest rate? Probably not. Would you change your bank for a less annoying online banking experience? Maybe, certainly. This is what drove Nationwide's determination to bring their UX strategy in-house. So historically, the communication channels between organisations and their customers were primarily print or in person. Shops, call centres, brochures, letters. But now, for many companies, these conversations are mostly happening via digital channels. Your digital user experience has become your brand. The ability to understand customers and convert those insights into on-brand product, service and interaction design is absolutely critical for organisations. And I enjoyed the talks from Berend and Paul earlier talking about specific ways that you can get that insight into your organisation to help you make better decisions. Third driver for that in-house teams is, of course, we get down to the bottom line. Cost. If UX is a strategic priority, our clients told us that it's cheaper to build in-house capability than to run consultancy or even freelance costs over the long term. When you consider the return on investment for UX, and others have touched on this earlier today, the benefits include increased conversion, decreased support costs, lower development and maintenance costs, including the reduced need for rework. And while we're on that subject, consider the cost of rework for a digital product. In-house UXers can ensure that they are available upfront to validate designs early, when, according to Forrester, rework is up to 30 times cheaper than post-release. And then the last business driver I wanted to pull out is intellectual property. If you outsource your UX research, your UX strategy, and your UX execution, all that valuable knowledge walks out of the door with the agency or the freelancer at the end of every project. Ooh. Jared Spall, who is an absolute giant in the UX industry, says outsourcing user research is like outsourcing your vacation. Our downtime is vital to our well-being as human beings, and Jared draws the parallel that customer insights are vital to the well-being of organisations, and I couldn't agree more. So, we're seeing this shift from using agencies to do big bang design work to in-house continual improvement. As a part of that, I personally found myself moving from a UX practitioner to a UX coach. So what does your organisation need to do when you reach that tipping point, when the benefits outweigh the costs of bringing UX in-house and your organisation is ready for the change? Here's the key themes that we saw with our clients who were bringing UX in-house. First up, we help them to put user experience strategy at the heart of their business. This involved shaping an argument for how that organisation should interact with its customers. And we started by setting a vision for customer experience. What experience do you want your customers to have of interacting with you? How do you want them to feel? What do you want them to do? Hold that vision up against everything that you deliver. Does it make the grade? Can you quantify what matters to your customers and measure that? So in the background there is just the government digital service design principles. For example, start with user needs, do the hard work to make it simple, and this is for everyone. When you consider that government websites must work even for the least tech-savvy in society, having these principles govern every design decision is vital. Embedding user insights into your decision making is absolutely key. Getting away from senior stakeholders saying, I want one of these widgets, or oh, I don't like that design. Provide the organisation with the evidence it needs to make user-centred decisions. User-centred design processes inject evidence at every phase of a project, from idea to deployment, and I'll talk about that a little more in a moment. Putting user experience at the heart of company strategy can involve a mindset shift from designing for individual channels, such as web or store, to recognising the true omni-channel experience. The image in the background here is an experience map, and these are really super helpful when looking at multi-touchpoint experiences. And cross-channel consistency is absolutely crucial for seamless and on-brand user journeys. And the last speaker was talking about some technical ways of implementing those types of things. So you've got a strategy, and in order to deliver on it, you need people, you need a team, and you need processes for them to follow. UX specialists can form your team, but your overall customer experience is effectively everyone in your organisation's job. Designers, writers, customer-facing staff, developers, everyone. Ultimately, as Jenny Blythe, who works at Bristol, says, you have to invest in UX in order to put the customer at the heart of the interaction. So you can build your team around your UX vision. Who do you need to make it real? What are their skills? who already works with you that might be good at this, who can champion it, nurture them, give them opportunities to grow. So this is something that I've used as a design team leader. It's the UX design skills matrix. It can help you think about required skills and what you need to move your team onto the next level. I've mentioned building a team, but how are they going to work? This diagram is something that UXers really geek out over, so sorry for showing it. It was developed by the Design Council after researching leading organisations' design processes, leading companies that did design well. They looked at how they did it and distilled it into this diagram. They identified 4 phases of a design process. Discover, where research is used to better understand the problem. This is a divergent phase. You're generating and gathering loads of information. And this is followed by define, in which the research insight is distilled with business objectives to form a clear understanding of the problem to be solved. And this is a convergent phase, where decisions are being made and options narrowed. Then you move on to develop, in which solutions to the specific problem are explored. And this is the second divergent phase, many ideas are generated. Then you move on to delivery, in which we converge on a specific solution to the problem. In user-centered design, research with real customers is carried out during all phases of the design process. So initially, it's to help understand user needs and look for opportunities, and towards the end of that process, it's about validating specific designs. And when we worked with organisations to help them bring UX in-house, we built bespoke processes on this double diamond framework to fit the organisation's skill set and their culture. We aimed to be pragmatic rather than dogmatic, and we were determined to come up with workable, flexible, usable processes that put user-based evidence at the heart of their decision-making. So this image shows a workshop programme nationwide to test and iterate on one of the processes we developed for them. So Peter Morville, this is a tweet from him, he's another one of the granddaddies of the user experience movement. He says that designers are often not engaged until after strategic and planning decisions are made. So in the second part of the double diamond phase. But if strategic decisions are made without a clear understanding of customer needs and pain points, you really do risk missing some valuable opportunities. For example, when I worked on the Charles Tyrwhitt menswear website, we observed that men in their shops often carried shirts and cufflinks over to their colourful tie displays to try and work out which tie would match their shirt. And we wanted to support this behaviour online. The functionality would be tricky to design and develop, but we knew that it met a real user need, so we decided to go ahead. And in the end, this tie and cufflink matching widget was hugely profitable for them. It resulted in many more online tie and cufflink purchases than they had had previously, when people were simply buying shirts and not trusting their judgment to match a tie to it. It was successful because it neatly matched a real-world need with a digital solution. And if we hadn't had that customer insight from the beginning of the project, we wouldn't have known about that. So I've talked about how customer expectations, brand, cost, and intellectual property are tipping the scales. Organisations are starting to take UX capability in-house rather than outsourcing to agencies and freelancers. And we've seen that organisations who've taken UX in-house have built out from UX as a part of company strategy. They're setting and holding customer experience vision and considering omni-channel user journeys rather than single touchpoints. They know that, in many cases, digital is the primary expression of their brand, and that's where the conversations are happening. They've built the UX capability to meet this strategy by hiring and by retraining existing staff and putting robust user-centered design processes in place. And I think this really leads to a win-win situation. This is a service ecosystem diagram where it shows that the organisation understands its customers well enough to provide what they need at every touch point. And the customer gets what they need and provides value back to the business repeatedly over time. I believe that by creating customer-centric organisations, it leads to happier customers, happier employees, and improved bottom lines. A world where organisations and customers understand each other better. A better brand promise, delivering more customer value. That's me.